I haven't. No, I have freeze-dried coffee, which is absolutely the worst kind that you can possibly get for oxalate anyway, and a bit of cream, and that's it pretty much.
Yeah, I put a little potassium bicarbonate in because my stomach was so sensitive with all this. Once your stomach gets out of line, man, every little oxalate, every little thing that irritates it, it's just all of a sudden it's like tasted really good, but man, I'm going to suffer for a whole day. I used to be able to only have coffee one day a week. Anyways, let's start this. Otherwise, I'll start
Awesome.
flapping my jaws here.
All right.
All right, here we go. Okay, guys, we've got Bart Kay in the house since I was in his house last week, and I told a little bit of my journey. Bart's going to tell us a little bit about his journey because we all have a journey here, and sometimes you can learn from our journey, guys. Just remember that. So Bart runs a YouTube channel. I've been watching him for about a year or so, and he's the Nutrition Science WatchDog, which I like. Someone's got to watch all the dogs, right?
Yeah.
So how long you had your channel now?
Okay, so it's now probably just over 2 years, Rob. I've had the channel. Yeah, and it's gone from nothing to just over nothing in that time. Yeah, no, it's a hard road with the old YouTube, isn't it? They sometimes don't cooperate with everybody. If you don't push the narrative that they want to see being pushed, it's an uphill battle a bit. But we struggle on. We keep doing it, and we do it because that's the royal me. I do it because I believe really, really passionately in helping people and making sure that they have the opportunity to hear both sides of the story and to hear some good information about, how it is that we can best support our health. Because there are so many people running around telling us all sorts of things, aren't there, Rob?
And who do you believe? Really, it's a. Hold on, I got back up. Talking to myself. It's all right. Let's see if it'll stop. So, yeah, I hate when it does that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to talk to myself in the echo room. So, anyways, maybe you can start talking because I'm on the echo side here, and it'd be nice to hear why you changed your diet. Because diets, and you can only do a certain diet so long before you start dying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying with the whole echo chamber thing there. I know you're being literal, that you're actually hearing yourself back through your own speakers and that can be, it's one of the hardest things to do is to speak when you've actually got a microsecond or a few later, you've actually got yourself coming back. Headphones is probably the solution for that one. But anyway, yeah. I have been a devotee of the ketogenic way of living for over 20 years now. So I actually started doing that well before it was cool and trendy. And that got me, because the first 20 something years of my life, I was eating a standard Western diet, a standard American style diet, New Zealand style, of course. And that was terrible, because I genuinely believe that is the worst possible diet that anybody can eat. Sure. To the point where I think even veganism, actually short term, at least for 3 to 5 years, is preferable to the standard Western or standard American approach to nutrition. That is, until those nutritional deficiencies kick in, which do happen on the vegan diet every time a coconut. Anyways, I was doing the Western diet for the first 27, 28 years of my life, whatever it was. I'll give you a rundown of some of the issues I had, Rob, and just so that people can understand where my health was at on that standard diet. number one, I was probably 20 pounds heavier than I am now. Some of that was muscle because I was also active in a bit of lifting and stuff. I wasn't huge by any means. Mostly it was a bit of fat that was sat around there. So that was the first thing. In my 27, 28 years to that point, I had experienced, I had an appendectomy when I was very young. I had a tonsillectomy when I was very young.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Yep.
So, they got me too.
Yep. Bastards. I had pancreatitis when I was a teenager. So it wasn't alcohol induced. They of course, the medical profession, they called it idiopathic, which for those that don't know translates to we don't know. We have no idea. That's doctor speak for it's above our heads. So anyway, I had pancreatitis, so that was fun and games, not very much. I've had diverticulitis. I've been hospitalized 3 or 4 times with that. Yep. Common story. I have gluten intolerance / subceliac, but heading that way. Anytime I eat wheat, I'm going to lose a gut lining the next day.
Me too.
Yep, same thing. Good. I've had hiatus hernia. I've had gastric reflux.
Mm-hmm.
I've had chronic systemic inflammation. I've had fibromyalgia to the point where I could not get out of bed some days.
Mm-hmm.
I have had anxiety disorder. I've had depression. I've had all manner of mental health problems, all down to eating a diet rich and lots of imbalance and rich in plants and all that good stuff that they tell us we should be eating. So really, it had got to the point when I was about, as I say, 27, 28, where I decided this has got to stop. This is ridiculous. This is not how it is meant to be. This is no fun at all. And it was at that stage that I sort of came across the ketogenic approach. So I started down that track. What I've found over the next 5, 6, 7 years is most of my health problems improved 60, 70, 80%, depending on which one you're talking about. And that was coincident with the same degree of removal of some of the irritants, I guess. But of course, as a ketogenic devotee, I was still putting in. Exactly.
A lot of the inflammatory things, the anti-nutrient pieces, and yeah.
So also at around about age 27, I started my first undergraduate degree, which was actually a sport and exercise physiology degree. And they, of course, taught me all the good oil, like avoid saturated fat, avoid too much red meat, get lots of healthy whole grains, especially if you're going to be an athlete, which I was trying to be at the time. Blah, 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 all of that. And so that's what I learned in school. And then I actually never bought it. I never believed it. I thought that doesn't make any sense. It did not ring true. It did not match up with how I was imagining that things had to go together. So I've always been one to sort of challenge the authority and try and find my own way. So I started researching and doing research and undertaking my own research. I'm actually a bit of a rarity in that respect, Rob. I'm one of the very few people that can put his hand up and say I was a published author in the peer-reviewed scientific literature before I had my undergraduate degree certificate in my hand. Nobody does that, just about. And it was because I was so determined that I was going to make my own way and I was going to make my own mark on the world. Plus I had a really good academic supervisor that encouraged me to do it.
So are you doing a lot of exercise though too, or were you just eating?
Yeah, I was actually refereeing a crazy game called rugby league at a very high level and playing another crazy game called cricket, which
Yeah.
Americans don't know anything about either of those games pretty much. Rugby league is quite a bit like gridiron, without all the breaks, without all the stopping, without all of that nonsense. It's just go, 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 go. It's frantic,
It's
and they don't wear
organized
helmets.
warfare. Yeah, no, it's a tough
Exactly.
game. They don't like to play it in America because it's too tough.
That's it. Yeah, so there's no helmets and pads and any of that kind of stuff. And yeah, we breed them properly hard down here. And there's a lot of Maori boys playing the game, and they are big units. Much like the native Hawaiians, they will come from the same genetic stock. Those peoples, um, as it turns out, actually, all the Pacific peoples, they are all descended from 6 ancestral females.
6.
There were six canoes that left their original homeland, which they called Hawaii, and that was actually southern Malaysia. It turns out they've done the genetic backtracking. They've gone, that's where it was. That's where they came from. And there were 6 canoes, and there was 1 female on each of those boats, and 20-something blokes. Jesus. Anyway, so that's and so they all have a certain. So they selected the females on the basis of size, musculature, bulk, ability to deal with the rigors of striking out through the Pacific. And they knew there was land out there, they just didn't know where it was, and they knew it was going to be tough to find it and all of that sort of stuff. So anyway, that was all of that. And it wasn't until really, it's nearly 4 years ago now, that I came across the idea, the concept that ketogenesis, the ketogenic way, was not quite there. And actually the correct diet for human beings, the correct approach to nutrition for human beings, was actually a hyper-obligate carnivore. In other words, all meat and fat, no plants to speak of. And in fact, plants, hearts of plants, extracts of plants, were for medicinal purpose, not for nutritional purpose. 100%. And so I came across that about 4 years ago when Sean Baker and such were sort of crashing onto the scene, and Jordan Peterson brought it to light, him and his daughter that had that very serious autoimmune thing, Michaela.
Yep.
And that went straight up my flagpole straight away. And ever since, I've been a devotee of that, with varying amount of adherence. My own discipline is variable from time to time. Most of the time, I'm kind of 95% upwards carnivore, meaning that I will have meat and I might have some garlic on it, and some garlic butter, for example. I might have some mint with my lamb, very small amount, obviously, because of the oxalate issue, etc. When things are not going so well and I'm not being adherent, then I might have something ridiculous like pizza and beer. But
do you notice when you eat the pizza and beer, though, we can't even say, is your gut healed, or is that food every time you eat it now, because everything's working well, all of a sudden you find out that this stuff just plugs you up, irritates you, gives you everything that you were running away from before, just right away.
Yeah. Okay. So every time, without fail, if I transgress and I have some pizza and some beer one evening, for the next 48 hours, it's hell.
You bet.
The next morning, I am going to lose that gut lining. It's going to go. I am going to become vastly inflamed systemically. My fibromyalgia is going to flare right up. Sometimes I get skin breakouts the next day straight away. My mood falls through the floor. It's an immediate reaction. It's like my body goes, Charlie Brown, we have spoken about this. I've explained this to you. You are not fucking listening. And I get the full works. Yeah.
No, you got to go through these reverses. So, let me just interject real quicker, because you and I have sort of similar, journeys here. We try a diet, and I was, back in my day, I was introduced into the plant only world by venturing into different parts of cultures, like the New Age culture, the cultures of maybe India or just more of a conscious culture. And they say just like they say, hey, Tesla didn't eat vegetarian. I don't know if he did or not. I mean, excuse me, didn't have any meat. He was a vegetarian, and you got all your sort of. So I said, you know what? Let's give this a try. Maybe the plants, because just like you did, I had to unpack a lot of BS in my brain. When I went to school, I paid for all this crap that they put in my head. Saturated fats are bad for you. Cholesterol is bad for you. Hey, grains are great for you. They'll build muscles. No, they. Okay, and for my journey, especially for me, because I was into peak performance, so I used diet, and I sort of tested it with my performance levels that I could go ahead and get from this fuel source, right? So, I would notice, just like like you said, if I ate some crap, I would know that even the next day I would see a smoothness, because I stay super lean all the time, and I've sort of tinkled with my diet right now. It's taken me. I mean, I've been doing flesh only now for about a year. I've gained 25 pounds of pure muscle from like I showed you last time. I don't know if you can see that. From that,
Look at that.
127-pound malnourished person. Okay, look at my collarbones. Okay,
Yeah.
Got the roost going.
Abs.
So I still got abs. Yeah, I'm malnourished. So does the guy in Auschwitz too. He's got abs too, right? So but once it hit me where I got totally malnourished, I mean, my performance, I was just trying to hang on to my performance, and I was eating a ton of superfoods, a lot of plant proteins, all the things that I thought that basically, it says protein, and that's fine. But the protein that you're eating, is it assimilable? Is it? We don't know, right? So, anyways, all I know is that, the journey for other people, guys, you really have to learn from other people if you can, is because, we got a lot to go ahead and share. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess what's happened for me in the 4 years that I've been flesh and fat, pretty much, all of that laundry list of complaints that I outlined for you before, they are all basically in complete remission, except for when I transgress, and then they come back with a vengeance. So to me, okay, that's not proof of cause and effect. That's not a scientific observation, but it's a pretty good anecdote. It's a pretty clear message. I'm one of really now tens and probably hundreds of thousands of people actually who have been following this crazy carnivore diet idea that's been floating around on social media for 4 or 5 years. And he's in charge of the yard, that bloke, isn't he?
Yeah. No, he's the man there. Yeah, he's got a show. He's the stud of the show.
That's the one. Yeah, so all of these things come right, and people are universally giving us the same anecdote. They're saying, my life was crap, my health was crap, everything was bad, it was all downhill. I was praying for the end, and now I've got a whole new life. I've worked this thing out. What a lot of people don't understand with this is that the misinformation that the other folks are saying out there is ideologically driven. There's a lot of spin doctrine, there's a lot of pseudoscience. The high priests of the Church of Anorexia Vegana are going to tell you all of this nonsense. The one piece of hard science that I kind of lean on really heavily is the one whereby some actual scientists, because nutritionists are not scientists, people. Nutritionists don't do science. They do loose observations because science is closely controlled. So if you want to talk about long-term outcomes from dietary intervention, what you have to do is you have to take genetic twins at birth, separate them, put them in a controlled locked lab, and keep them there their whole lives. Mm-hmm. Keep everything the same, absolutely everything the same, except their diets. Then you can talk about cause and effect. Failing that, you're doing pseudoscience. You're doing crack pottery. That's what nutrition science is. It's crack pottery. Anywho, there's some actual hard science that's been done. the one piece that I lean on, and it goes like this. Human beings have left behind skeletal remains throughout our roughly 350,000 year existence on the planet. Inside the bones and teeth and hair that is left behind, there is collagen. It's the most common protein in the human body. In that collagen is nitrogen. That nitrogen comes in two isotopes. The amount of one isotope versus the other tells us how much animal product versus how much plant material those human beings ate. No question, no error, no guesstimation, no pseudoscience, no crack pottery, slam dunk. End of discussion. Here is the science. Human beings for the last 350,000 years, except for the last 5,000, and most notably the last 200 or so, human beings have consumed almost no plant material. Fact.
And most of the plants that you see today, right, are genetically designed. Broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, those are called God's plants or the Creator's plants. Those are man-made. And it's sort of weird too. You see kale specifically made to be able to see if sheep can eat this stuff because it's so easy to grow, so loaded full, especially the curly care, so loaded full of oxalates. I wondered why I was such a green thumb in my garden. Nothing wanted to eat that. Nothing wanted to eat the cabbage with the 49 endogenous pesticides. And that means the pesticides that the plant grows inside itself. And unless you process it to some degree, like ferment it, you're just eating a lot of plant compounds. That's a big thing too. You may want to explain, because, in order to break down plant matter, you need a fermented chamber. I mean, I watch my sheep here. I've got 18 sheep, right? And I see them, they eat, and then they sit down and relax, right? They eat for the morning, and they sit down, and then they cough up whatever's inside their mouth, and they start chewing. I said, well, you're not eating anything. They're regurgitating, and they re-cough back up, and they're just chewing, and they just bring it up, bring it back. But, you really notice, I've been studying the sheep, and they're bloated all the time. I mean, just their fermented chamber will go in there. So you may want to, just explain to people a little bit. People say, well, an ape, right? We're supposed to be, like close to monkeys, right? Whatever you want to say, that's fine. They have a fermented chamber.
Yeah.
And it's not the same as a cow's, but it's in the rear. And, that's how you break down. So any plant that I would eat, and I haven't had any plants for about a year at all, except for fruit. I eat fruit right before I'm going to work out just for the sugar. And so I can get intense 45 minutes of exercise. And man, does it give me extra, like super energy. And it makes all my muscles gorge with extra blood is because I'm feeding them sugar. But other than that, at night, I mean, what has healed my gut? And my gut was terrible for 3 years. I'm sure it's same with yours. I mean, I had blood in my stools for 3 years, guys. And all I can tell you is if you keep eating these plants sooner or later, and it's not even the plant compounds like the oxalates, the isothiocyanate, it's not the lectins, but it's also the glyphosate. It's also the atrazine. It's also, I'm a farmer here. You should see what these guys spray on the coffee here. Insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, and don't forget, fungicides, whatever it takes to get that plant going. Even if it's organic, just because it's organic, guys, I just want you to know. I mean, remember, what do you think? Someone's out there watching everybody all the time there? These guys just want to get their crops, and so, I mean, once I removed all of these, because same thing, Jordan Peterson was one of the guys that actually at the same time, Sean Baker, I think Paul Saladino, Dr. Ken Berry, there was a, handful of people just telling their anecdotal stories, just the same as you. And all of a sudden I said, you know what? I got the worst inflammation. I can't even see the veins in my hands. I got pitting edema in my legs. What's going down with me? I can't walk up the stairs. My knees hurt. My hip hurts. I haven't been able to run for a couple of years. Something's definitely wrong in my joints. And, it took me my stomach right now is bulletproof. And before I couldn't say, look, I've got, and I could never do this. I have yerba mate in here. I have some coffee. I'd have coffee once a week because I love it. And then if I'm going to clean the house or whatever, coffee gives me a run, good run for your money, right? And, I put a little bit of potassium bicarbonate, but I rarely, have any before I couldn't have coffee once a week, is because if I did, just like you said with the pizza, I would suffer for 2 full days. I'd get diarrhea. Okay, my stomach would feel like all of a sudden something inside it, and it's, what do you think? High oxalates. It's maybe the chemicals in the coffee, because a lot of times people also drink dark coffee, and I'm in the coffee business. I got about 1,500 trees here, so we have a solar dehydrator. You got to pick them, shell them, hull them. I mean, what a job to get, even cacao, same thing. And people don't understand the best coffee for, with people with stomach problems. What would you think? Do you think it would be Italian roast, which is like a 24-minute burn right in the roaster, or is it maybe 21 minutes, maybe a dark roast, okay, or a medium roast? And so the more you burn it, the more these polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, right? You start burning stuff, and this was a big thing too. A lot of people drink this dark, the dark roast. That's just burnt more coffee. It's got more flavor. It's got less caffeine, and the highest amount of caffeine would be light roast coffee, right, with the least amount of PAHs. Okay, and these are these aromatics that basically form when you burn shit, right? So, I mean, I had, all it is, I mean, I had to tailor just like you did. I stopped all my spices. I had to, because every time I don't care if it's curry powder, remember turmeric, I was eating it every day. I thought it was good for me. The more the better. Ginger, the more the better. I mean, these are pharmaceuticals. Okay, I look at them. They're medicinals. They're not nutritional. So, I mean, once I cut all that out, and I just used, just like Tristan at Primate Health, I watched a lot of his in the beginning too. He's a character. And, just like he said, I only use salt. And I said, I'm going to cut out all these spices. I used to have like 50 spices, man, and just put everything on there to make it taste good, because I was eating the vegan schmegan, and I had to go ahead and make it taste, because it didn't satisfy me. So maybe some spices, because it didn't have the saturated fats. The saturated fats is what gives you the satiety that I was looking for. Okay, I didn't have it for 15 years. Okay, and in my first steak with all of the tallow and the fat, it's like a joke. I mean, I've been malnourishing myself for so long, and that one steak, pound and a half, poop this big in the morning, right? But a pound and a half of steak you ate, it just refilled my whole self with nutrition. That is just like a miracle. It did. So keep on going with your story there, but I just wanted to say, we've got similar type stories, and a lot of people are out there. And guys, don't be conned by the con, okay? You think that veganism is going to make you strong? No, it's going to make you weak. It's a good cleanse for a short period of time. There's nothing wrong with it. You better put some saturated fats like ghee butter in there. You better throw in some eggs in there too. You need some cholesterol, because if not, your brain starts shrinking. As I won't name people's names, but you can see people's brain starts shrinking. You start getting crazy. Your eyes start sucking in your head, guys. And you know how long that takes to go ahead, even if you can regain back that nutrition? Shrinking your brain's not so good. So you see a lot of people that are just off the wall with their emotions, man. Just veganism is the worst. You see these people, they're just going, and not grounded. And I'm so grounded now. That's one of the big things I noticed. You said you had depression too, and anxiety, maybe sleep. I used to get up at night, piss 10 times, 8 times, okay? Pooping 10 times a day with all my psyllium powder, and all these things, which, of course, I heard fiber is good. Now, what did we find out? Fiber is not good. Okay.
No.
So everything's sort of backwards. And I'm glad that, man, you helped me out a lot in a lot of different pieces too. So everybody has. We got to connect the dots to each other. Remember, we went to school with, and just because you go to school doesn't mean you're smart. It just means that maybe you have a good factual mind to be able to absorb all this crap they're telling you. But it's critical thinking and real life experience. And this is where people better learn from other people, guys, because you're going down a road. It's just a cleanse, just like doing water fasting. I've done 300 people here. And after like the 7th day, you can just start to see people, fat people just start getting like more GQ-ish looking, and skinny vegan people, okay, they just start shriveling up like I got them in a like a concentration camp here, and I'm torturing them. Remember, they come up to the Big Island to starve. Okay. So anyways, refeeding, back with this high level super nutrition. Talk about your story. So you were on standard American diet for 20 years, about same with me, eating McDonald's, Taco Hell, all the fast food. I probably had Burger King. I call it Burger King. I probably had 500 hamburgers, maybe 1,000. Okay. Taco Bell was my favorite. And it didn't even really bother me that much. I'd have a Big Mac, fries, and go ahead and have like a chocolate shake, right? And I'd poop that stuff out in the morning. I couldn't even imagine, okay, eating that garbage now because my system's so fine-tuned with just eating meat by itself. I have meat, cheese, eggs, anything, fat and protein. I don't mix any sugar with any of that because all of a sudden I found out that the digestion is sacrificed. And then my only carbs I really have, is I found out, I mean, you should try this if you're working out intense. Have like, any type of sugar. I just have some fruit, really. And then you push this through you. And boy, because your body's hungry for these carbs. And once you get it, if you do something with it, remember an apple, you can run a bloody 1.5 miles. And people are eating all this fruit. And if it's vegan, I see a lot of people, forget to even stand in the mind. Why is everybody so bloody fat? Okay. If you weren't eating all the sugar and processed carbs, okay, and you're not going to get fat. You can't get fat on this meat animal product diet. You just can't. It's super hard.
Yeah. Being fat is a direct causal artifact of chronic systemic inflammation, cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot get fat without being inflamed. There is no way.
Totally.
Because at the end of the day, the switch that sets your metabolism into anabolic fat storage mode is a phosphorylation state of a number of those enzymes in your metabolic pathway. The pro-inflammatory cytokines, your whole suite of them in your body, the COX-2 pathway, the LOX5 pathway, all of those ones, they are all activated by a phosphorylation state change. The two are linked inextricably hand in hand. You cannot put on weight without being inflamed. And if you are inflamed, you will not get the weight off. So you have to deal with chronic systemic inflammation if you're going to get the weight off. Now, here's the good news. You are not designed to spend your life in a state of inflammation. You are designed to have acute bouts of inflammation when it is required and indicated. The problem is we live lives that stop us or stop our bodies from turning that off so that we can now get on with the repair. The inflammation is indicated. It's useful at the time to do what it needs to do. But it's not supposed to go on all the time. We've got to turn that thing off. Here's how you do it. Stop eating things that will inflame your body. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are those things? They are starch, sugars over and above a very quite low level of sugars, to be honest with you.
100%. Yep.
Anything that is a plant or was a plant or came from a plant, pretty much, with some exceptions of medicinal things. What are the things that are anti-inflammatory to your body? Well, they're the things that you are genetically evolved to, the niche that you are developed to fulfill. This whole idea that balance in your diet is a good thing. Balance is a word that it's the best bit of marketing, the best bit of spin doctrine I've ever seen, Rob. It's people equate balance with goodness and light and fairness and justice and the American way and all this kind of shit, don't they? Exactly. You are not designed for balance. You are designed to fit into the ecological niche that your ancestors have filled for the last 350,000 years. And as I said, with that nitrogen isotope testing, we don't have to guess. We don't have to estimate. We don't have to look at your teeth. We don't have to look at anything else. We can, absolutely. We can look at your guts. We can say, do you have a fermentation chamber? The answer, well, you do, actually. It's about that big.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, your appendix. And most people get them yanked out anyway.
Exactly, because they become septic. It is a vestigial organ that has not yet been completely wiped out from our genome. Mm-hmm. It will be in generations to come because we do not use it. We are not fermenters. We can undertake a very small amount of fermentation in our colon, as per if you eat animal. If you eat plant fibers, then your gut will be populated by a particular speciation of bacteria that can break some of that down.
Exactly.
Very small amount of it, but most of that is going to come out in your feces, with most of your gut lining, actually, because it's abrasive, it's damaging, it causes injury to your gut, it causes chronic systemic inflammation, it causes you to become fat, it stops you up, it gives you constipation. Basically the exact reverse of everything these charlatans are going to tell you. Fiber's great, it'll stop you getting colon cancer, it'll stop you getting constipation, they'll tell you. Absolute nonsense. There is only one clinical study that's ever been done on this. One. And it's the one Dr. Paul Mason talks about all the time.
Excellent study.
Yeah, they had a group of people that presented in the first instance as constipated chronically. And they were on standard diets, including a bunch of fiber and stuff. They were all following gold standard advice, basically. Get your fiber, have a balanced diet, fruits, vegetables, avoid animal fats, and avoid meat, especially red, and all of this kind of nonsense that they're teaching out there. All of these people stopped up constipated. And what they did is they split the group into otherwise reasonably homogeneous subgroups, and they progressively removed different amounts of fiber from the different subgroups. So 10% less fiber, 20% less fiber, whatever it was, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, straight line relationship. The more of the fiber they removed from these people's diets, the more those people got remission from their symptoms of constipation, bloating, and other gastric distress of all kinds, to the point where the people who had all the fiber removed had complete remission. All of them, every single one of those study participants. Okay,
that's what happened with me. I mean, you remove the fiber, and the fiber is not going to sit there and ferment and make me gas, lifting your cheek off the table there. Your stomach feels like you need to get poked with a needle to get rid of the gas. No, it's the most uncomfortable feeling in the bloody world. So quit eating fiber, and your gas and bloating and constipation will go bye-bye. Opposite of what everybody said: more fiber, more poop. Well, no, you got more fiber, you got more crap inside there. You got to poop out, and if you got intestinal line, just like you said, irritation, and also the way I look at it too, a lot of people have leaky gut. They have all these little tiny little holes in their gut from whatever, chemicals, from oxalates, whatever the case may be. Once you get it, you're in trouble. And all this fiber gets stuck in these little leaky holes there, and it starts making these diverticuli and all this stuff. So you talk about tumors and stuff, guys. How about maybe those tumors? Those are just backed fiber. It's just like a little closet full of insoluble fiber that pathogens maybe get a chance to be able to do what they do, okay, and colonize. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm one of, as I say, tens of thousands of people who are publicly saying, look, when I stopped eating plants, my gut came right.
Yeah.
And really, your gut, the state of health in your gut, is the one thing that will have the highest effect on your overall health in every way: physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, holistically. End of, period. Full stop. There are more nerve endings in your enteric system and your than there are in the rest of your whole nervous system outside of your brain.
Yeah.
There are more messages going back to your brain every second about exactly what's going on in your gut than anywhere else in your body. And your body reacts to that because that is the center of everything. That is where you absorb your nutrient. That is the thing that keeps you alive. And a lot of people will go carnivore, and they'll come to me a week later and say, "Oh, this is terrible. I'm constipated." And I said, "Well, are you feeling uncomfortable?" "No, I feel great. It's the best I felt. Nothing's going on in there." I said, "Well, why are you telling me you're constipated?" "Well, I've stopped shitting so much. I've only shit 3 times this week." And I said, "Well, that's normal. That's what it's supposed to be." Yeah, but and there's so little of anything coming out there. That's because you can actually digest meat and fat and use it. This whole idea that we're supposed to truck through, that sort of length, that sort of thickness, feces 3 and 4 and 5 times a week or more. Most of that's just fiber that's coming out. I mean, you even look at these animals, these ruminant animals. Look at what comes out of the back end of a cow. Most of the grass that cow eats
comes out.
Is what's coming out the back.
Yeah.
People think cows live on grass. Like they think cows digest grass. No, cows have 4 chambers.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 chambers are about fermentation. They're foregut fermenters.
Mm-hmm.
They ferment the grass. They chew up the grass, break it down so that the bacteria that live in there can break that down, and the bacteria live on that. The 4th chamber in a cow's stomach is the one where they pour acid all over those bacteria, break those bacteria down, and what they are digesting is the bacteria. That's what the cow lives on, not the bloody grass.
Mm-hmm.
The grass gets shit out the back end, what's left of it.
Yeah, I don't know. When you look the same with the sheep I have too.
Herbivores, not herbivores. Cows are not herbivorous at all. They are microbiivores, if you like.
Yeah, no, they eat a ton of flesh. I mean, you look at all them. I watch my cattle. They'll eat anything that's in the grass. I don't care what kind of insects are there. They'll even eat a chicken if you put it next to it. If they can grab it, they'll taste it and give it a try. It doesn't matter. Yeah, no, I've been studying. You got to really study herbivores. They eat all day long.
Yep.
Talk about a machine. They're just my lawn cutters, right? And they poop all day long. And you know, if you really don't see what an herbivore, because most people, look, we go to school, they don't teach us any of this stuff.
Okay? Of course not.
They don't teach us anything. And you can see right now, where did all the alpha males go? Where'd they go? The testosterone is gone, and you can see the diets that are being pushed, high grains. What do you think that gives you testosterone? Hey, eat a lot of potatoes. That'll give you some dense muscle. No, it's the meat transferring. So when I eat flesh and I have a malnutrition problem, the muscle meat, when I exercise, goes into my muscle meat. When I eat liver, the liver has all the constituents of the liver. I mean, my liver needs repairing. What do you think? I'm going to take this little supplement and this one? Like, remember, there's this compound, I mean, like a library of compounds in there to be able to make the liver up. So I eat the liver, and it helps repair my liver. Okay, so same, but I've been getting kidney too, and these are all things. So, that one guy that said he got constipation. Yeah, I had diarrhea for about 30 days, just blowing out all my bile salts because, my liver's not even working eating a plant-based diet. And so I start eating heavier saturated fats, and I'm all of a sudden cleaning out my bile, all these whatever's inside there, because it's finally starting to work. And you'll get diarrhea for 4 or 6 weeks. So what? Just know that in about 2 months, 3 months tops, your stomach will be the best it ever will have been. Instead of, I don't know about you, you eat a plant-based diet, all your poop floats. I used to poop so much. I mean, this is sort of weird, but you got the toilet water in there, right? And I poop so much, I make an island. Okay, it's like whoa. And I'd send pictures. I said, check this out, man. I just made an island in my toilet. Okay, and this is like weird, is because all of this fiber that I was putting in my body, the fiber absorbs any nutrients that even if I did have in my body, it's like sucking them up like charcoal does. So not that smart, when we get, and then when you get malnourished, what are you going to do? Take synthetic chemical supplements? Is because you're listening to the charlatans again? Okay. And there are some things that can benefit you, but you for me, the thing that healed me, it took me 1 year for me to say, you know what? I have regenerated so much. I'm 60. I have regenerated so much. My strength has come back. I mean, I'm like 18 years old again. I'm, like I said, I still got abs. I still feel that I have not really an aged. I just have wisdom in my head there. But I see a lot of my friends 60 years old, and these guys are in bad bloody shape, man. Okay, forget about being 20, 30 pounds overweight. They're stiff as a bloody board. They turn like this, and they're vegans. Okay, a lot of these people that are eating all these oxalates, what do you think it's doing to it? It's turning you into a pillar of stone, and it takes years. So at night, just so you know, I mean, I've been listening to, Susan Owens, some other different, I forget, Stephanie Seneff. People get their website ripped off the internet talking about, using certain compounds to reduce glyphosate, but whatever it is, I learned a lot from these people. And, they say it takes up to 10 years to remove all the oxalate formations that are in my muscles, in my joints. okay, in my organs, kidney stones, gallstones, arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis. Could it be possible that all these oxalates are giving me all these oxalic or oxalate diseases? And so, I mean, my whole system has just, I mean, it took me 6 months. I was doing really, really, really good. But at the year schedule right now, I feel like I'm regenerating, because there's a time where you can get back some of your nutrition. You go, oh, I just feel good again. No, now I feel like vital again. I mean, we live in a physical world. And a lot of us, we've lost our way. We even if you wanted to do this higher level protein and fat, I found out if you exercise intensely, all that protein and fat rebuilds, because you got to use it to or you lose it. And if I eat all this high level protein and I use my muscles, that high level protein rebuilds my muscle. Especially, remember, I bodybuilded when I was 18 years old. So my body just got back its memory, just said, I'm coming back. So have you noticed that you've been exercising? Have you noticed that your strength changes? Like my creatine levels. I mean, I can do, let's say you're doing exercise before, at 7, 8, I can barely push the last one up. Now I've got my muscles, even if it's going up slow, the creatine says, keep going. You can do another one and more. Whoa, and more. And so there's super fuel in these foods, especially if you exercise. So yeah, I think that's one of the main ingredients.
At now 48, nearly 49 years of age, I am, while I'm not remotely in my trained state, I'm basically sedentary. I will exercise for half an hour, 3 or 4 times a week. I will be getting back into more serious training, because I'm now at a point 4 years into my switch across to carnivore where I actually feel well enough to be able to even think about doing it. But at 36 years of age, I was basically bedridden. And I was thinking, let's just pray for the end, because this is no fun. Now, at 48, nearly 49, I feel like I'm 27 again, or 25, or whatever the number is. I've got my life back. I've got a sense of purpose. Mm-hmm. I've got my YouTube channel, and luckily nobody's had anything negative to say about me anywhere on the internet so far. Everyone's been I'm joking,
except Frankie, right?
Have you seen his latest one? Apparently, I'm a CIA operative.
I saw that. Yeah, no, that's
good. We can laugh, and it is amusing on, but also it's really sad, because what we're seeing here is that Frankie is. He's suffering. The boy is really in trouble. He's lost the way. He's lost the plot. And I've always said to Frank, we were mates. We did a couple of videos together. I had something to say about when he had a crack at Paul Saladino about 18 months ago that I didn't think was warranted. He got his nose out of joint, and ever since then I've had horns growing out of my head as far as Frank is concerned. But I've always said to Frank, the door is open, sunshine. Anytime you want to talk, anytime we can get back on track. The door is open. I'm not going to hold a grudge for something like that. So, Frankie, if you are watching, which I doubt, I am still here. I'm still, nothing's changed as far as I'm concerned. We still have, I still have the aroha is the word we use down here, which is the love for you, the care for your outcomes and stuff. So that said, I'm still going to laugh at you, because calling me a CIA agent, that's a new one. Good.
And even if you were, okay, hey, you're giving out good information, okay, that has more critical thinking, that goes against. I mean, look, there's a lot of people that are plants in the system to be able to stimulate people's brains in a different perspective in a different region. Remember, most of what we see here is a lot of divide and conquer, but you're dividing and conquering in a good way, is what I see. Okay, is because what you're doing is you're taking a lot of the bullshit and you're sort of talking it through. And of course, hey, who do you believe in this world nowadays? Okay, politics, right? Who do you believe? Your lawyers, right? When they move their lips, they lie, right? Everybody's trying to figure out how to sustain themselves in this sort of weird place that we call the world. So, Yeah, the door's open always. I'm learning just like you are. We all critical thinking means we talk to each other, and you have a different perspective. Okay, so do I. But we have similar journeys, and we're just trying to figure it out. Remember, what's the best diet? If you're malnourished, the best diet is exactly what I feel is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing animal products, grass-fed, of course, organic, okay, RSBT free. I don't want any chemicals, insecticides, pesticides, and herbicides. I've taken a rest from glyphosate. That's the biggest thing when you stop eating the bloody plants. Take a rest from these xenoestrogens, these chemical estrogens. And a lot of people, again, I know you don't really know what that is, but those are estrogen mimicking types of compounds that you can see a lot of men, okay, have been estrogenized. They just have. And then, I mean, you got to see that, guys. Soy, flax, even hops in a beer, right? If you want to get back some of your manhood, then stop some of these estrogen mimicking, things, because testosterone also, I found out, helps you rebuild. And I don't want to take synthetic testosterone, because if not, my testes, my own system starts to shrink. Okay, so the meat to me is my testosterone, because I use it anabolically. I eat this flesh, I exercise, and all of a sudden in about 2 months, I gain 20 pounds. Not body fat. My body's got, some memory to it. So it's sort of like I'm cheating a little bit, because I'm just going back to my pre-status time of 18, 19, and 20 years old. But I wish I knew this information when I was bodybuilding, when I was, I was just a teenage. I wish I knew this information when I was basically treating patients, just so I can help them a lot more efficiently. You want to detox? That's fine. Eat the plants. They're malnourishing. You can do them for a little while. Okay. Watch yourself and watch what happened to us. So if you have these problems, guys, we've got a lot of, how do you say it? I mean, you got a lot of guts to go ahead, and sometimes you have to retrack some of your tracks to say, hey, no, it's not that I made a mistake. I just went too far. So yeah, these plants are good for detoxing, and I do dairy products too. I don't know if you do any kefir. I found that really helped my gut. 3.25% organic kefir. I have a couple sips right before I'm going to go to bed. I eat my meal. I lay down, watch TV for half an hour before I fall asleep on the couch. I get up and take a couple sips of it's 3.25%, and it's an organic kefir. And that has helped heal my gut too. It's these saturated fats and these creams that heal the gut. They protect your gut, and then you got all these plants, and they've got their position, as far as even with parasitology, with detoxification, stuff like that. But you got to be careful taking too many of them, especially if you're already malnourished. You're not doing yourselves any favor. So, what do you feel as far as to really get people in line here, because I got a lot of people in my subs here, and I want people to come over to you to be able to see, and I've pushed you not because I don't even know you, just because your information that you've been saying has, and your character too. I'm a character. We're all characters here, right? in our own way. Okay, it makes us interesting.
I am playing a bit of a role here, Rob, on the internet. I'm playing the abrasive, who's wrong on the internet, who's who's an asshat, all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. When people get to know me, I'm actually a human being. You can talk to me. I'm open. I care about people. I want to help you. So the first thing is, obviously I would love to see as many of your subs as possible become subs of mine as well. You'll get some humor, you'll get some entertainment, but you're also going to get some fantastic information from me, because I've been there, I've done that, I've done the research, I've looked into when I say I've done the research, that doesn't mean I've read someone else's. I am an actual scientist. I have done the research. I have been involved in producing the literature for 20 years. I'm a former senior lecturer in human physiology, cardiovascular pathophysiology, statistics, research methodology, and a whole bunch of other things as well. So I've got all of that background. I know what I am talking about. When it comes down to your health, here is what you have to understand. Number one, plants and plant extracts are medicinal if used appropriately. They are not food. They are not nutrition. They are not indicated in the human diet. There are no essential carbohydrates. There are no need whatsoever for you to consume any fiber. In fact, it is completely contraindicated. Please don't do it. The most anti-inflammatory diet you can possibly consume is one consisting of grass-fed ruminant flesh and associated fat that comes along with that.
Wait, say that one more time. Repeat that.
The most anti-inflammatory diet that we know about that a human being can consume is one that is based on the flesh of a ruminant animals and the associated fat that comes along with that.
That's why I wanted you to say it, because that is super important for people to get. And guys, I know you've been watching the Game Changers. You've been watching all these different people touting and spouting. That's fine. Give it a try. Don't be shy. But you will be able to have to come back to some reality, okay? Some common sense in time. Okay, your body is this, and it takes a while for everybody to figure these pieces out. So I just wanted to just say that again, because that's super important.
Look at the high priests of the Church of Anorexia Vegana. Look at these characters. Look at any one of them you like, and tell me that they look healthy. Tell me that you want to take nutrition advice, health advice from these people who look like lurch, who are laterally melted in. They have no width across their shoulders. Their skulls are laterally, their jaw is,
eyes sucked in.
Yeah, all of that.
They're fat. I call them fat skinny. They got a bunch of body fat, but if you took all that body fat, they're like anorexic because they have no muscle at all. They don't exercise. They don't do any physical activity because they've been castrated, I believe, from testosterone, because I can see it in you. People with testosterone, you can just see they're dense. Okay, they're active. They like to do physical things. They like digging holes and stuff, like doing things. But if you're castrated from testosterone, yeah, you can see them.
Well, while we're there, not one diet works for everybody. Don't be sucked into that nonsense either. You are the same species I am. You have 99.99 something percent the same genes I've got. You are not special. You are Homo sapiens sapiens, and your correct diet is obligate hyper carnivore, period. That's what the science tells us, okay? So that's that side of it. The problem here is soyification. It is chemical castration. It is chronic systemic inflammation. So how do we deal with inflammation? We eat a species appropriate diet, which is, as described, it is the flesh and fat of the ruminant animals as the basis of it all. A few other things thrown in, animal stuff, please, grass-fed, please, all of that. Secondly, connect yourself electrically to the earth as much of the time as is possible. Okay? Do not walk around all day in rubber-soled shoes, drive around in rubber-tired cars, live in an insulated apartment, house, or whatever else. Connect yourself to the earth electrically. That will vastly reduce your inflammatory load by itself there. And it's free. Goodness, it's free. There you go. How do I do it? I actually sleep on an electrically grounded sheet.
Yeah, me too.
It's a sheet that's got silver fibers embedded in it. It plugs in, no worries. Put it to the ground circuit. Awesome. Also, I spend as much time as I can barefoot on the ground as well. When I'm sat at my terminal here, I have an earth strap around my ankle most of the time because I understand how anti-inflammatory that is. Thirdly, I suggest you get hold of a product which I have been taking myself for 10 years with fantastic results. I have decided just in the last 7 or 8 weeks to actually mention it, to actually promote it. I have a distributorship. I am going to make money out of this if you buy it from me, and I make no apologies for that. Okay? Why shouldn't I? I've actually been really, really selfish for the last 10 years not sharing it with you. But it's a product which encourages your bone marrow to release your adult stem cells from the bone marrow where they're stored to your blood. They will circulate around in your blood. They will identify tissues in need of renewal, repair, anti-inflammatory work. Basically, these things are magic. Anything that is wrong in any tissues in your body, somehow these stem cells read the message from that tissue chemically. They understand that message by something that is not even known to science yet. We don't understand how. It puts together care packages of bits of DNA, bits of RNA, bits of different proteins and things, and says, this is what this tissue needs, puts it in an exosome and spits that exosome out to that tissue. Boof. These stem cells spit out thousands, tens of thousands of these exosomes every minute. And they quash inflammation. They discourage metastases from dividing. They actually downregulate those cells' abilities to do that. They cause apoptosis in the cells that need to be killed off. These guys are magic. These stem cells that spit out these exosomes. If the stem cell comes across a tissue or a cell that is so badly damaged that it just needs to go and it needs replacing, then the stem cell will actually differentiate into a brand new cell of that kind with a full-length telomere.
Magical, as they say.
Wow.
Yeah, magical.
Didn't understand that. Go across to my channel. I've done 3 or 4 videos on this stuff in the last 5 or 6 weeks. You need to understand that, because that is magic in a bottle right there. So I'm promoting that product. I'm also doing a deal until the end of this week, really, whereby it's covered in a video. Basically, you get involved, you get some product into you, and I'm actually prepared, if you do that, to give you a month's worth of free consultancy. So you can talk to me one-on-one on Skype, ask me any problems, concerns. We can get you on track.
Nice.
And I usually charge like a wounded bull for consultancy. So don't miss this opportunity. Get that into you.
And everybody needs to be, not so much even consulted, need guidance, just to get, just to get you feeling like all of a sudden you're not like swimming in a lake and you don't even know how to swim yet. A lot of this is scary for people. It's like, one thing, because we talked a little bit in the beginning before we recorded, you have everything like I do, hard wired. And we talk about ripping our telomeres off, getting older very quickly. All of these wireless transmissions, especially if we have heavy metals in our body, the microwave, and if wireless is a nice word for microwaves going through your tissue. And what if they hit aluminum in your brain, because you got aluminum in your brain, maybe lead in your kidneys? What does it do? It stops and hits that little piece, and what does it do? Microwaves, even on microcurrent, will go ahead and change, maybe not so much the tissue so much at that current, but maybe it'll heat up the metals that are in there and cause infarct. So this is another big piece. You got to change your diet, guys, but there's a lot of things to upgrade, I call it, enhance and optimize in your world, just like you talked about that stem cell product. I mean, there's so many little departments, and all we can do, guys, is, especially if you're lacking, you got to experiment and try some things and learn from some other people that are just, a little not more advanced, let's say, but they've been doing this for a while. They've been already sifting through a lot of the BS. Is because I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on just experimenting. Trying things just to see, just like you said, you've been playing with this thing for 10 years and you got to play around with things before you have to, be able to think that it doesn't. You got to try everything on your own self. Being a scientist means you may mess yourself up because you got to try some stuff on yourself. You can't just read stuff.
That's it. Absolutely. Yep. So if you do want to talk to me about any of that kind of stuff, there's my email address right there. Both simple. All right. So for me, that's it.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I just wanted to say, Bart, thank you so much for coming on here. And, there are lots of people, because I don't really do any consultations. I'm so busy with a lot of things. Guys, all I can say is, we all need a nudge to sometimes get us in a direction. Forget about the path, just a direction. And then it slowly unfolds, because in the beginning it's a little weird because you got to backpedal and everything pretty much is possibly incorrect. Just about everything we know. And you can't blame the system. Well, you can. I just like you said, I really, over time have found out that a lot of things that I was told are completely nonsense. And that is a very hard thing to swallow. The more degrees, it's a lot of people you can help, Bart, are people that don't have all this in their head piled higher and deeper. They think they're so smart because they paid for this indoctrination they got in their head, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I found out a lot of people that don't have a lot of education, they're easy to, you know, sort of help them start their direction. And in time, they'll figure out their own path, guys. You're going to have to, just like Bart said, you're going to have to go back to eating pizza a couple times just to say, okay, I was feeling so good, I ate this shit, and now I feel like shit. And you have to do that. It's just part of, you know, part of you realizing that, okay, it's truthful. I don't think I know anymore. Now I know if I eat this crap, if I use this, then you know, a lot of people smell really bad, like the vegan people. It's like, why do you smell so bad of BO? Okay, and I found out because I remember I went into the New Age, you know, thing, and it's like you go into a yoga thing, and it's like, whoa, it smells like Burger King in here, and nobody's cooking onions. You stink because you're eating too many onions, too many white onions, green onions, and garlic. These are poisons. Garlic's really good medicine, you know, and if I take it every day, I'll smell that shit coming out of my body too. So I haven't used underarm deodorant for 15 years. That was one of the things, at least, I got away from, you know, just from me personally. It takes years to get sometimes the funk from coming out of your system. They call it sulfone hydroxylion, right? Garlic. And it's a good poison. It is. Use it as, but if I use turmeric every day, now it becomes a poison to me instead of just a poison, hermetic poison, where I put it in and all of a sudden it shocks my system with all these, you know, because turmeric, super high oxalates, whatever it's got inside, you know, the color tints, whatever. But if I put this stuff in, yeah, I put it in every day, then all I know is I assaulted myself instead of getting the hermetic effect. It goes opposite. It's the dose is the poison. The poison is the dose.
Yeah.
So, okay, that was good. You know, I like people. Just the reason being why we do these is everyone's looking sometimes to change it up when you don't feel right. Because when you feel right, you go, I'm fine. Everything's working well for me. But take your clothes off, guys. Look in the mirror. Remember, give yourself a physical examination, even if you feel good. How about, do you look healthy? Forget look good. That's all. That's a big picture. But do you look healthy? Okay, and diet is a lot when it comes to that. Okay, so, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and like I said, you're lucky you have these types of people here. Okay, even myself, but more of you because you're going against the system here. That takes a lot of. That's like Bobby's perspective. You guys are bringing a lot of truth. Bobby's good too. I like Bobby. You know, everybody's here.
All right, guys.
That's right. Yeah, and again, like I said, again, we all have similar journeys. Bobby's same journey. Okay, and I listen to him, I listen to you guys, and I'm going, shoot, I had all the same stupid symptoms they had. And so we learn from each other. You go, I got gas, bloating. You look in the mirror. That's fine because you can learn to see yourself every day so you don't see the change. But look at your videos or your pictures a year back, 2 years back, 5 years, and you go, Jesus, what happened to me? Why'd you pre-age so quickly? What happened to me? You know,
it might surprise a lot of people to know I am older than Dr. Gregor.
He's a character, huh? Eat your daily dozen. Or that was McDougal, right?
If you don't eat your fruits and vegetables, you might die. That's what he says.
And you look at these guys. I always tell people, Bart, take your clothes off. I want to see. Look, you're a nutritionist. You go to the hospital, right? And you got this 300-pound nutritionist coming down the hall with a slip that's going to tell me or my family, right, how to eat better. And they're charging you $150 on your insurance. And if anybody had any critical thinking, you would think in your mind, if this person knew anything about nutrition, I could see it with my eyes. And it's like, guys, open your eyes up. Okay, if someone doesn't look healthy, it's most likely because something they're doing in their lifestyle, and most likely it's their diet, it's the wireless, it's all the chemicals you have in your diet. I don't care if it's from eating, you know, just simple processed junk food. How about your laundry detergent with your chemicals in it? You're cleaning the products and you're using bleach all the time. It's just, you know, there's a lot, and this is why, you know, I opened up Earther Academies to help people. So there's a lot of different departments, guy. How are you going to get the plastic out of your body? Well, stop putting it in, for one. How are you going to get the aluminum that's stuck in your brain? Remember? And how do we know that? Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. Aluminum, okay, is in everything we use. Underarm deodorants, and it's in your water supply for a clarifying agent. And you spray it in the skies for geoengineering, for weather modification. You take potatoes and you put them on the barbecue, and fish on the barbecue, and all the aluminum scraping. You got a pan here and you're whipping up some eggs with a metal batter, and you're putting all the nickel and heavy metal. We're loaded full of this crap. So that's another big piece, of getting healthy, is learning some detox. But then again, it's all an experiment, guys. No one really, like you said, we're all pretty much the same, but we all have some differences, especially our lifestyle, where you live. I mean, I live in Hawaii here, and I personally, for me, just like, I'm not sure where you live in New Zealand, but I live in the country, and I only have 8 people per square mile where I live, and so I don't have a wireless around me. I don't have the towers around me or anything. And that is a big part to people's health, because I see a lot of people, like, maybe that's Frank's problem, living in New York, right? Hey, you got what, 40,000 people per square mile? Everyone's got cell phones and Wi-Fi and all that. Everyone's going bloody nuts. Part of the insanity I see people is because some people do have a sound diet, but they have unsound emotions, or they're not really grounded, or they feel the victim sort of. And I see that in a lot of people, and anyway, I just wanted to take my hat off to you. Keep on going, doing what you're doing, is because we need the watchdog out there to go ahead and keep an eye on the dogs that are they're not telling the truth. They're mimicking someone else's sort of truth, and someone else is mimicking, and it's just got to stop sometimes. Okay, so yeah, watch the Game Changers and check out all those athletes and all those guys. Guys, none of those people built themselves on broccoli. Okay, I mean, come on. I mean, I used to be a bodybuilder. Okay, and it's just it's the meat that and there was even just real quick. There was like Bill Pearl, I don't know if you remember him. He was like a champion icon bodybuilder back in the 50s. And he said he'd go vegetarian when he wasn't competing, right? And he said he'd get weaker and weaker. And he just did that because everybody said, hey, meat's bad for you. So I better take a break from the meat, okay? And then when he'd start training, as soon as he started training, because he used to work out the same gym over there, World's Gym, and these guys, as soon as they start eating meat again, he'd gain 15, 20 pounds, and his strength would go up 30, 40, 50%. So this is the anabolic effect, and the plants give you a catabolic, which is the takeaway effect. So watch it, guys. And if you mix them together, catabolic plants and meat, you're wasting the nutrition in the meat, because you need that pH of 2 to break down that heavy-duty fat and that protein. And if you mix it with a bloody potato, or if you drink a bunch of water with your meal, you're just diluting your stomach acid. That's another big problem, So don't give up. If you did change your diet, guys, don't give up. It takes about a month just for your system to regain a new terrain. And I guarantee you, I mean, this is what happened to me and 50 other people that I've got to change that are close to me. A lot of my friends, I tell them, I said, look, no one's going to tell you this. I'm going to be your friend. You look like shit. Okay, your eyes are bringing, your muscles are, I can see you look stiff as hell. Look, you can't keep on going on this plant diet. Okay, give it a try. Look, can't you see yourself? And I pull up pictures, and the guys, they don't like it because they can't see themselves. Every day you see yourself, and you don't see this deterioration. Okay, another channel to watch is Vegan Deterioration. Shoot, I was even on there.
She's great. I love her. She's great. Yeah.
Just to show you the deterioration of people. Guys, watch it. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Folks,
anything
that's where you can find me right there. That's my primary YouTube hangout. Get yourselves across there. Get yourselves registered as a sub. Hit the bell icon so that YouTube will completely fail to notify you at all whenever I put out videos, because they don't like me. But let's teach them a lesson. Get over there, get subbed, and get yourself onto this magic stuff. All the information on how to get hold of that is there over there on my website, or you can either of those places. And it's been an absolute blast, Rob, as usual. I always enjoy having a chat with you, getting your perspective on things. It's all good stuff, isn't it? And
no, it is. And a lot of people they're scared of Bart. Hey, why would you want to do a podcast with Bart? He may bag on you. If I got something to bag on him, let him bag on me. Let him bring some truth to my brain. That's fine with me. Whatever the truth is, I'm willing to see it. I got to backpedal a lot of times in my life. We just do, and that means that I'm getting another perspective, which means that maybe I'll find a better way. Okay, so anyways. Thank you, brother.
Anyway, so I'm 5'6" and 140 pounds dripping wet, so no one needs to be afraid of me necessarily in that sort of regard. But of course, I am ex-military, ex-CIA, and I could kill you with my no, but look, if the only people that need to fear me are people who want to stand up and with malice aforethought tell ideologically driven lies to people. Okay. Yeah. If you want to talk about human nutrition, just make sure you know what you're talking about before you come online. And if you're not 100% sure of what you're talking about, you're the one that probably should be talking. It's the people who are 100% sure of their nonsense that are the people that I'm going to come after with my, who's wrong on the internet videos and all that kind of stuff. But, I'm actually, that, as I say, that's a character I play on the internet. I'm actually, when I'm talking to people, I'm actually like I am with you, Rob, today, right now. I don't agree with everything you have to say, and I'm sure you don't agree with everything I have to say either. But we're all people. We're all trying to do the best for each other. We're all trying to help.
Yeah, 100%.
That's where we're at. The enemy is the Church of Anorexia Vegana, as far as I'm concerned. They're the people we've got to stop, and that's what my life's work is about. So it's a pleasure. I'll continue doing it as long as I've got strength for it. But I do need some support to help me along the way. So as I say, get across there, get yourself subbed. There it is. Drop me a line. There it is.
And you got consultations if you need them too, guys.
Yep. Beautiful.
And like I said, Bart's he's got not only some schooling but experience in this. You gotta in order to be able to learn, you gotta get sick. You can't learn any doctors if you've never been sick before, you don't know squat. You got to get sick yourself and put whatever you think you know and put it to yourself instead of just patients. I've seen over 100,000 patient visits. Whoa, to find out you can't help anybody really, okay, unless they want to help themselves. No one can help you guys, okay? You got to want to help yourselves, and it's an experiment, and we're, here to give you some ideas. Hey, let me see your shirt. What does that say? The Meat Militia, right?
Meat Militia. Yeah, I'll give you, just before we close off, Rob, I'll give you the history on this. This is actually a bit of a joke. It really is. I've actually got a second YouTube channel, which is called the Meat Militia. That's the logo. You can't miss it. It's a much smaller channel than my primary channel. I actually, on that channel, it's not so much the kind of stuff I do on my primary channel. It's more animated funnies. It's me taking the piss out of people like Richard Burgess, otherwise known as Vegan Gains, and Low from Chorley, and all these kind of idiots. And I think I've had a crack at Gregor a couple of times on there as well, and whatever else. Yeah. But where this came from was there was a bloke running around. I think he's still around, and he was called Vegan Carbo Raider or something stupid like that. And he had this channel, and he actually put this logo together to take the piss out of me. Oh, look, it's the Meat Militia, blah blah blah. And I actually went, right, I'll have it, boof. And now it's actually become a real marketing. So I'm like, Jerry, thanks very much. You put it together for me for free. I'm going to use it for the rest of my life. Cheers. And I hope it hurts. So it's basically the story.
That's where Frankie got a lot of his ideas from. Hey, the Meat Militia, military.
The Meat Militia. Yeah.
I like it though. That's good. Yeah. Hey, the meat will heal you. That's all I can tell you. And you just don't mix it with nothing, guys. Just eat it by itself, and exercise too. And that'll help you at least get you where you feel like maybe you got some critical thinking, getting some saturated fats back in your brain so you can get to the next layer.
Yep, that's it. All right, Rob, it's been a pleasure. I got to race because the next thing is hard on my heels. You know how it is.
Me too. Same thing.
It's a Saturday here in New Zealand, but I work 6 days a week. I have to keep up with my schedule. I do have 1 or 2 slots that are still open for people that do want to consult. So get yourselves across there. Don't mess about because they'll be gone probably soon for the next few months, and then it's a 3 or 4 month wait. So there you go.
And I think, guys, look, it's a good idea to go ahead and just to get yourself on, like I said, get yourself on the directional path. And we all need, like I said, I have so many people all the time. Well, you do consultations? No, but I like to find people that are worthy so they could go ahead and help you. Okay, just get you started. is because it's a big job to do consultations too. It's because everyone's got their own specific, little, X, Y, and Z's. But generally, guys, all you need to do is just get on the program, and in time it'll unfold beautifully. So just to give you a little heads up on that piece. So, okay, Bart, we'll see you, and
good
aloha
stuff,
from
mate.
Hawaii.
So yeah, cheers. Thanks very much for having me. I do appreciate it very much, and I'll catch you very soon. And we'll have a chat again, I would say, in the next couple of months.
Yeah, no, I'd like to. And if anybody, guys, if anybody really that wants to come on the Earth Academy show here, guys, if you're worthy, let's have something to say, because there's always something that that if we've got the guts to go ahead and get out there and do it and the time to do it, there's a lot of help that sometimes we don't think we're helping people, but we really are. So in the YouTube, you can't get anywhere. You guys have to push these videos around if you really want to, make it so, these things can be seen. Because if not, I'm shadow banded too. I haven't broke more than 100,000. It just stays there. It won't move no matter what I do. It just stays there. This is it. Everyone gets unsubscribed. You got to subscribe back again. It's just what it is, guys. Yep. Check it out.
Yeah, so, for real. Absolutely. All right. Cheers, Rob. Good to see you, mate.
Aloha.
Okay, see ya. All right, and you.